We move on now to rising tensions in the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. Navy moving to prevent Iran from seizing 2 oil tankers in international waters. Images released by the Navy show the Iranian Navy speeding toward one of the tankers, a U.S. destroyer racing to protect the ships in separate incidents about 3 hours apart.
0614 local time. The Strait of Hormuz. 21 miles of open water separating Iran from the Arabian Peninsula, the narrowest bottleneck in the global energy supply. Right now, it looks like any other morning. Tankers crawling southeast under a pale sky, the smell of salt and diesel hanging over everything. An IRGC patrol boat cuts a white wake between the shipping lanes, and somewhere on Iran's southern coast, a radar operator is on his second cup of tea watching a scope that tells him absolutely nothing is wrong. He has 43 minutes of peace left. Because 900 miles northwest, in the pre-dawn quiet of the eastern Mediterranean, the USS Gravely has just received a release authority transmission that will set in motion the largest coordinated American military operation in more than 2 decades. This is what happens when a regional power miscalculates so completely, so catastrophically, that the response doesn't just punish the action, it restructures the balance of power across the entire Persian Gulf for a generation. Iran challenged the United States Navy. Big mistake doesn't even begin to cover it. To understand what's about to happen, you need to understand what Iran believed going into this morning. For years, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy had been developing what their doctrine calls the mosaic defense, a swarming strategy built around speed, volume, and asymmetry. Hundreds of fast attack craft, shore-based anti-ship missiles, mines, and one-way attack drones deployed in overlapping waves designed to overwhelm any single defensive system through sheer numbers. The calculation was simple. The United States couldn't intercept everything, and the economic and political cost of a drawn-out Gulf conflict would eventually drive Washington to the negotiating table. The IRGC's senior commanders looked at every wargame they'd run over the past decade, looked at the Strait of Hormuz's geography, the shallow water, the narrow transit lanes, the restricted maneuvering room for large surface ships, and concluded that geography was on their side. They'd watched the price of oil spike 15% on rumor alone. They'd watched American domestic politics grow complicated around foreign military commitments. They'd convinced themselves the United States would hesitate. That was the fatal miscalculation. Not in the missiles they chose. Not in the timing. The fundamental error was in misreading what hesitation looks like from inside the Pentagon versus what it looks like from Tehran. What Iran read as restraint was, in fact, patience. And patience had just run out. The sequence that triggers this morning begins 72 hours earlier, when the IRGC Navy conducts what they publicly call a routine exercise. 6 Hodong-class missile boats forming a picket line directly across the designated transit corridor for USS Abraham Lincoln's Carrier Strike Group. Not adjacent. Across. Then, 18 hours later, 3 shore-based C-802 nor anti-ship missile batteries on the Keshem Island coast go to active radar emission. All 3 simultaneously. All 3 locked onto the Lincoln's task force. Naval doctrine has a phrase for this: hostile fire control engagement. You don't need to pull the trigger to commit an act of war. You only need to paint the target. 7th Fleet sends the assessment up the chain. The National Command Authority reviews the options package that CENTCOM has been refining for 16 months. The decision comes back in 4 hours. Authorized. All packages. Execute. You're in the Combat Information Center aboard USS Gravely, a Burke-class destroyer running electronic silence somewhere east of Cyprus. The room glows blue-green from display screens stacked floor to overhead. Petty officers wearing headsets tap through launch sequence confirmations at consoles that look nothing like what Hollywood imagines: functional, ugly, brutally utilitarian. The Strike Warfare Coordinator checks his mission clock for the 4th time in 2 minutes. The order that just came down is the one they've been rehearsing for years. Now it's not a rehearsal. At 0614, the first vertical launch system cell fires. The Tomahawk doesn't announce itself. It erupts from the deck in a column of smoke and flame, booster burning hard for 3 seconds before the turbojet spools up and the missile drops to 50 feet above the waterline, radar altimeter riding the wave surface south toward the Iranian coastline. 4 seconds later, the next cell fires. Then the next. Then the next. 8 missiles are gone inside 90 seconds. 300 meters north, USS The Sullivans is running the same sequence. East of them, USS Cole. 25 Tomahawks now threading their way south at 550 miles per hour, routing through radar gaps that US intelligence has been mapping for years. The IRGC radar operator on Keshem Island finishes his tea. His scope is clean. He sees nothing. These weapons fly at 50 feet. His search radar looks at the horizon, not at the sea surface. He will not see them coming. He will only see the aftermath. The Tomahawks are patient. They have 40 minutes. But Tomahawks don't win this day alone. What matters? What makes this operation functionally different from anything the United States has executed since 2003 is everything that arrives before them. Think of the Tomahawk strike package as the second act. The first act belongs to a collection of aircraft that Iran's air defense network has no reliable answer for. 12 F-35C Lightning IIs from Carrier Air Wing 11, launched from Abraham Lincoln 90 minutes ago, are now ghosting through Iranian airspace at altitude, running passive sensor suites and broadcasting exactly nothing. Each jet carries the AN/ASQ-239 electronic warfare system, 30-plus antennas embedded across the airframe, cataloging every radar emission within range like a librarian who never forgets a call number. Every Iranian battery that searches. Every mobile SAM unit that pings. Every frequency rotation and pulse interval. All of it logged, geolocated, and pushed by a Link 16 to every platform in the network. The F-35s are not just aircraft. They are the eyes of the entire operation. Could you manage that level of cognitive load, flying a supersonic jet in hostile airspace while simultaneously building a real-time intelligence picture for 30 aircraft behind you? This is what the pilots in those cockpits are doing right now. What the F-35s have been mapping for 90 minutes tells a specific story about Iran's most capable surviving air defense asset. A domestically developed phased array system the intelligence community has designated SA-65, positioned in the Zagros mountain foothills, covering the western approach corridor. After Israel's strikes in late 2024 dismantled most of Iran's Russian-supplied S-300 inventory, Iranian engineers spent 2 years building a replacement under sanctions. 150-kilometer engagement range. Genuine threat to fourth-generation aircraft. Not a joke. It has been searching intermittently all morning. Short pulses, frequency hopping, trying to track the F-35s without staying on the air long enough to attract a missile. Smart discipline. But the battle rhythm of this operation is specifically designed to force a moment where that discipline breaks. An EA-18G Growler from the Lincoln's wing has been orbiting 40 miles west, its ALQ-249 next-generation jammer on standby, waiting. When the second wave of Israeli-launched Rampage supersonic standoff missiles enters the corridor, 12 weapons accelerating through Mach 2 toward Tehran, zero warning time on arrival, the SA-65 battery commander has to make a choice no training fully prepares you for. He switches to fire control. Full power. Continuous track. The moment he does, he's finished. The Growler's jammer floods his tracking frequency with enough electromagnetic noise to turn his display into static. Simultaneously, an F-35 Iadir, an Israeli Air Force variant that's been passively geolocating that exact emission for 93 minutes, pushes the coordinates via Link 16. From a Super Hornet orbiting to the west, an AGM-88G advanced anti-radiation guided missile drops off the pylon, lights its rocket motor, and accelerates toward Mach 3. The weapon's multimode seeker, GPS, inertial navigation, and millimeter wave terminal homing, doesn't need the radar to stay active. It already has the address. It knows where the system lives. Emission to impact, 81 seconds. Iran spent 2 years replacing what Israel destroyed in 2024. The replacement lasted less than 7 minutes of active operation. Now the sky opens. With the SA-65 gone and the F-35s having catalogued and suppressed every other significant radar emission along the western and southern corridors, the aircraft that have been holding in orbit over western Iraq for 3 hours get the call. 12 F-22 Raptors, Joint Base Langley Eustis assets forward deployed through Al Dhafra, push throttles to military power and Bank East. You're in the cockpit of the lead Raptor. You are right now the most lethal air superiority platform ever built by any nation in the history of aerial warfare, and your radar cross-section to Iranian ground systems is roughly equivalent to a large bird. The APG-77 in your nose is painting everything within 125 miles, tracking contacts the size of a golf ball. Any Iranian fighter that gets airborne, the 40-odd operational MiG-29s, the handful of surviving F-14s that Iranian engineers have kept flying through 3 decades of sanctions, would need to close within 15 miles to register anything at all on their systems. At 15 miles, your AMRAAMs are already off the rail. The Iranian Air Force, to their credit, makes the correct calculation. They stay on the ground. The Raptors aren't here to shoot down fighters. They're the senior intelligence collectors of the push, the AN/ALR-94 passive warning system spread across 30 antennas in the airframe, cataloging every mobile SAM that relocated during the morning's chaos and thinks the movement bought it anonymity. Every IRGC command post transmitting on a frequency that hasn't yet been flagged. All of it flows back through the network to the strike aircraft orbiting behind them. At 0754, the Tomahawks reach the coast. The first salvo hits Bandar Abbas simultaneously across 3 aim points: the IRGC Naval Forces Headquarters Command Building, the pier infrastructure supporting Kilo-class submarines, and the fuel storage complex servicing the fast attack boat fleet. You don't have to imagine what 1,000-pound blast fragmentation warheads do to a concrete command building. The building folds inward. Secondary detonations walk through the fuel storage. A column of black smoke punches 4,000 feet straight up through the morning humidity and starts drifting southeast toward Oman. 3 minutes later, a 4-ship of F divided by a -18E Super Hornets from VFA 41 Black Aces rolls in from the north, each carrying GBU 31 Joint Direct Attack munitions on the centerline. The weapons officer in the lead jet has been staring at this target set since wheels up from the Lincoln 45 minutes ago. The primary aim point, a hardened concrete shelter on the Bandar Abbas waterfront, half-moon roof construction, designed to protect Boghammer and Hodong fast attack boats inside. These are the craft built for the Mosaic Doctrine, 50 feet long, armed with C-701 missiles and 23mm autocannon, designed to sprint out in packs and overwhelm the Strait of Hormuz with volume. Not today. The GBU 31 hits the concrete arch. 2,000 pounds of tritonal and hardened steel penetrating a roof designed to stop shrapnel, not a weapon that arrives with the kinetic force of a freight locomotive. The overpressure has nowhere to go. The walls blow outward. The roof pancakes down onto the boats inside. The Strike Eagle wingman confirms the hit on the targeting pod 30 seconds later and is already climbing back to altitude, pulling 5 GS, calling the next aim point. Simultaneously, 200 miles east, the pattern repeats at Chabahar, Iran's only deep water port on the Gulf of Oman, the potential egress point for submarines that could mine the strait from the eastern end. Tomahawks hit the command post and fuel storage first. Then a second 4-ship of Super Hornets from VFA 14 Top Hatters walks GBU 31s through the submarine pier infrastructure and the adjacent dry dock facility. 2 GBU 39 small diameter bombs, each guided to single-digit circular error by GPS and diamond-shaped glide wings, take out the C-802 anti-ship missile battery on the coastal bluff that's been threatening coalition shipping since 0400. A battery that 2 hours ago represented a genuine threat to every tanker in the Gulf of Oman ceases to exist in 4 seconds of detonation. If you can't fuel a submarine, repair it, or load it with mines, it's an expensive sculpture. The hardest fight of the day is not over the Gulf. It's in the mountains. 30 Israeli F-15I ROMs, each carrying Rampage supersonic standoff missiles and Rafael Spice glide bombs, have spread across the provinces of Kermanshah, Lorestan, and Khuzestan. Their mission is the most time-critical task in the entire operation, hunting transporter erector launchers before they fire. Here's the math that makes this so brutal. An IRGC missile crew can drive a Shahab 3 TEL out of a hardened mountain tunnel, erect the missile, connect fuel lines, and launch in under 30 minutes. Then the empty launcher drives back underground before the next satellite pass. These are not static targets. They are mobile, disciplined, well-drilled crews operating in terrain that was specifically chosen to deny easy observation. Finding a specific TEL in the western Iranian mountains is like trying to track a specific delivery truck in Los Angeles. Except that truck is trying to hit Tel Aviv, it moves every 20 minutes, and the crews have been practicing this exact drill for a decade. IDF drone footage, released hours later, captures the moment that defines the hunt. An infrared feed, grainy but unambiguous, a Shahab 3 variant, already vertical on the launcher rail in a narrow valley. Ground crew visible at the base connecting the final fuel umbilicals. The weapon is maybe 8 minutes from launch. The weapons officer on the orbiting F-15I has the crosshairs on the launcher. He holds. His trigger finger doesn't move. Because if he releases the spice bomb now, the blast radius catches the TL, but the missile damaged might topple clear. Not destroyed. Potentially still dangerous. He needs the fuel lines connected. He needs the geometry perfect. He needs another 12 seconds of patience when every instinct is screaming to shoot. The ground crew steps back from the umbilical connection. He pickles. The Rafael Spice glide bomb drops off the pylon, extends its GPS and electro-optical guidance wings, and steers down the valley on a trajectory calculated to impact at the junction of the launcher rail and the truck chassis at a shallow angle. 12 seconds of guided flight. The warhead detonates at the fuel connection point. 3 tons of liquid propellant ignites in a secondary fireball that whites out the infrared camera for 2 full seconds. When the image returns, the valley floor is scorched clean. The TL is scrap metal. But they cannot catch them all. They never could. Some crews are fast enough. Some tunnels are already sealed. Some missiles are already climbing. Which is why the next priority, simultaneous with the TEL hunt, is Iran's largest conventional ballistic missile stockpile. underground storage complexes across Isfahan, Bushehr, and Awaz. Dams and small-diameter bombs systematically working through bunker complex after bunker complex. The objective isn't just to destroy what's already inside. It's to ensure that whatever Iran has left cannot be reconstituted quickly, cannot be loaded, cannot threaten anyone for the weeks and months it will take to assess the strategic damage. 950 preloaded Shahid, 136 one-way attack drones gone in their launch racks. Warehouses packed with Fateh, 110 short-range ballistic missiles gone. The administrative infrastructure connecting IRGC commanders to their field units severed through underground fiber optic nodes and communications relays targeted by a second Tomahawk package that arrives precisely when the air defense suppression makes penetration possible. Iran's internet collapses to single-digit percentages of normal throughput. Confirmed by NetBlocks within the hour. By 1100 local time, the operation has been running for 2 hours and 46 minutes. Here's the final accounting. Iran launched the morning believing its Mosaic doctrine, its geography, and its anti-ship capabilities gave it a credible deterrent posture against the United States Navy. By late morning, the fast attack fleet that was the heart of that doctrine is burning under collapsed concrete on the Gulf Coast. The air defense network built over 30 years has been functionally suppressed. The ballistic missile inventory that was supposed to threaten coalition bases from Qatar to Bahrain has been reduced by a margin that will take Iranian military planners years to fully assess. The cost exchange runs in one direction only. For every Iranian interceptor that fired at a decoy, burning through a magazine that couldn't be replaced in this fight, the coalition delivered precision munitions against assets that cannot be rebuilt from backup storage. For every radar that went active and broadcast its location, a HARM missile already knew the address. What does this morning reveal about the future of warfare? Not just in the Persian Gulf, but everywhere that a regional power is contemplating the cost-benefit analysis of challenging a fully networked, multi-domain coalition force? The Mosaic doctrine isn't wrong in theory. Volume and asymmetry are real concepts with real military validity. The error was in assuming that the other side hadn't spent the past decade specifically engineering responses to those exact approaches. Cost exchange warfare, passive sensor dominance, suppression before strike, hunting the launchers before they fire. The IRGC's commanders understood the geography of the Strait of Hormuz. What they failed to account for was that geography means very little when your opponent can see everything you're doing, suppress everything you're using to stop them, and sequence their weapons so that your response window closes before it opens. Information dominance didn't win this fight. It made everything else possible. What surprised you most about how this scenario unfolds? The cost exchange logic of the drone campaign, the tell hunt in the mountains, or the way passive sensor dominance restructures the entire operation before a single bomb drops? Drop your analysis in the comments below. And if you want to go deeper on how the United States approached Iran's nuclear infrastructure in a companion scenario, that breakdown is already waiting for you. Subscribe and we'll see you there.